Ah, yes, hydroelectricity. But there's got to be a better way to harness energy. Or...
Welcome to Travels with Charlie, Vermont Politics in Real Life. I'm here with my guest today, Mary Powell, CEO of Green Mountain Power, and Mayor Dave Allaire of Rutland. Thank you both for being here with me today. It looks like it's a day at the beach, but we're actually at a solar farm, which there's a little overcast today, but there's a bit of sunshine today.
Well, sunshine is all good for solar capacity, that's for sure, and it is nice to sit here with you guys and just take in the sun and be on a beach chair. I love it.
They're going to be bringing the beers in shortly,
So I'm feeling kind of relaxed here, Charlie. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be. But.
I know, that might not be a good thing.
So let's talk about some of the solar sites that are in Rutland. Mayor, what's the feeling of the people? Is there opposition? Is there general support for the solar farms?
So I think in the city of Rutland, we're pretty much unified in our support of what's gone on in our community. There was a transformation from Central Vermont Public Service to Green Mountain Power 6-7 years ago, and it came with some sort of apprehension at first, but I think people are really feeling good about what has happened since then. Green Mountain Power is a tremendous partner in the community. We've done a lot of great projects together, not the least of which is the solar fields that we have sited, and for the most part we've put them kind of out of sight, so they're there, but people really don't know they're there.
Actually, the largest project we did was on top of the landfill, and so it really was, I think, a great collaboration where we started by giving a map to developers to show them the preferred sites and locations, and so we really encouraged both the economy and the development in a meaningful way.
So the landfill site, I mean, that's an optimal spot, right? You're not going to do anything with it anyway.
Absolutely.
It's not a beautiful site.
Follow land that would have been used for nothing else except to sit there, and now it is being put to a terrific use out of sight. It's out in back of our football field. It's you can't see, you don't even know it's there, and it's a huge field, and we're deriving some of the power from that too. So, again, the story is very positive here in the city. Outside of the city, when you're talking about some of the more rural areas, there is still quite a bit of discussion going on about different siting, fields and agricultural soils and that sort of thing. Although it is still, I think, more of a positive than it is otherwise. There is still, there's concerns from abutters and from folks who, would have to look out their kitchen window and there's the panels.
Yeah.
So, and it's understandable.
We hear those comments all the time, or complaints about, cell towers and things like that. We've learned to deal with it in some way, although, I don't know, I'm sure both of you can pick out those steel trees that you see on a mountaintop,
Right.
But they try to blend them in.
Yep.
Is there at any point, as technology changes, and I know the whole solar technology continues to change year after year after year, that at some point maybe the panels aren't going to be quite as large. So there's lots of possibilities, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and our approach has always been that you work with the communities. I mean, you work with folks that are affected. And Vermont's a state of it's about 1,000 conversations, and it's being willing to have those 1,000 conversations really in the context of any kind of development. You're always going to have folks that have concerns.
Right.
And so it's, our view is it's really important to hear those concerns, to incorporate them. We do try to then serve what the vast majority of our customers are telling us that they want. And Vermonters really do tell us loud and clear that they're worried about carbon.
Yeah.
They really want to see a lower carbon cost-effective, incredibly reliable future. And so everything we do, that's our North Star.
And I think what we've tried to get the word out to the developers that are coming in is just make sure you reach out, right off the bat, ahead of the game, and talk to the abutters and talk to the community and lay out what your plans are. And that way it mitigates a lot of the concerns, because a lot of it is just the unknown. People just don't know, well, what is this going to do to my value, the value of my property? What's this going to do to my viewscape? It's those kinds of things. If you can address them on the front end, then it eases the issues on the back end.
Are we going too fast? There's a goal of by 2050, 2050, that we're 90% renewable. Is it attainable? Are we going too fast with some of the changes that we see?
If you're asking me, which I think I'm one of the people you're asking, obviously my answer is that's not fast enough, because Green Mountain Power just launched an effort that we're going to get to 100% carbon-free clean energy by 2025 and 100% renewable by 2030. The reality is it needs to be done cost effectively.
Yeah.
And that's why we're innovating, and we're doing so many things. We're bringing new innovations to Vermont on a regular basis, because that's really the way we're going to get there in a cost effective way.
So it's not all solar.
It's not all solar.
It can't
no.
be.
No. And as a matter of fact, one of the big carbon problems in Vermont is transportation, and it's home heating.
Yeah.
If I look at the challenges ahead of us in Vermont as it relates to climate change and carbon, the overwhelming challenge is in transportation and heating. The UN report came out that said we basically now have about 11 and a half years to dramatically bend back carbon, or the fix is in and humanity is at stake. So we take that seriously, and we think we can innovate a way to a much lower carbon future.
I'm more of a free market guy. I like to have the market dictate, our future, and not have government tell us exactly what they believe is best for us, because I think the business people who built this country really knows best. And I think you're seeing more and more that the business community is realizing that there is a future in renewable energy, and not just for all the reasons that Mary just said, but for business reasons. Yes. And for the community and for our future. So those are the types of things that I look at and I look forward to for my community, and we're believers, and I think that there's an awful lot of good that's going on down here in this community, and I think throughout the state of Vermont.
All right, here we go. Time to recharge.
Feel the power.
Oh, I can feel the power.
Wow, look at that.
You feel that, Dave?
Oh, I feel it. Feel it. It feels great.
You feel 20 years younger, right?
30.
Oh! When you think about Vermont Yankee and all of the discussion, or when Vermont Yankee came in, it's like up front you start thinking about, okay, well, at some point you have to decommission the site.
Yeah.
And what do you do with the rods and do all of that? And the same conversation comes up in some ways about the batteries, although a nuclear rod and a battery are not
a little bit different.
A bit different.
But there's still a you got to get rid of it at some point, don't you? And you don't just put it in a landfill.
Decommissioning is a part, to Dave's point, decommissioning is a part of any project that you do in Vermont. You basically have to, even when we built Kingdom Community Wind, we had a whole decommissioning plan that had to be a part of it, and you have to talk about how it's funded, et cetera. So that is always a part of any significant
What do you do with
utility
the
scale.
Can you reuse them?
With our arrangement with Tesla, a lot of the way it works is you would turn them in after a certain amount of time, and then the technology again is continuing to evolve. So hopefully even more powerful technology that's even more cost effective to replace it. But yes, as with anything, right?
Yeah.
I'm so happy to see now that clothing stores take clothes back and recycle them.
Right.
It's no different than any other aspect of our society. Waste is a problem, and if we really want to tackle sustainability, we've got to tackle our culture around waste. So
we'll have the bottle redemption center next to the battery redemption center. Bring your batteries in.
It is, and again, as I've delved deeper into this, issue of sustainability and trying to get to a lower carbon a future, you have to start looking at some of these other aspects of our lives.
Been a great conversation. We started off, we had plenty of sunshine. It's getting a little overcast now, but the panels are still
They're
working.
still producing.
They're still working
producing.
as we are. I want to thank my guest today,
Yeah.
right.
Mayor Dave Allaire.
My
Dave,
pleasure. Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Thank you for coming out
Thank you for
today.
the invite.
Awesome
and my
to
friend
see you.
Mary Powell, CEO of GMP. Thank you
you.
so much for being here
Thank
with us
you.
today. Great
Great.
conversation. Travels with Charlie. See you in my travels.
Covering lots of ground. If you be so kind to share what's on your mind, it's time well spent talking president. Though we may not agree,